What do you think about suicide prevention?
Well, I think that any effort that anyone makes to prevent someone from committing suicide is a worthy endeavor.
Do you have any advice for someone going through depression?
So I had a friend who died almost a year ago. He drank himself to death. And although it's unrelated, I suppose, to depression, one thing that bothers me about what he did was that he never told anyone about it. He always denied that he had a problem. He hid it from other people until it was too late. And then at the end, he got so sick that it was too late to do anything medically to help him. And it still bothers me that as his best friend, that he never thought to tell me how bad things had gotten. Maybe he was too proud, maybe he just was in denial. But in terms of this topic, it just makes me think that no matter how bad things get, you should always trust in someone, a friend or a family member, to help you through your dark moments, and that there's always the potential of things getting better in life. Just when you think at that moment in your life that things cannot get any worse, you cannot look into the future and see that things can actually get better. There are always solutions to problems. And so it's very important to trust in someone that you believe in to help you through your dark moments. And remember, if you committed suicide, there's no going back. But you do have a second chance if you trust in other people. So please consider what happened to my friend who never talked about it, and always be willing to confide in someone that you can trust.
How do you feel about suicide prevention?
Oh, I think it's a great idea, because for the most part, it seems to be a super selfish act in which I know people are hurting and everything, but the idea is that the people they leave behind have to suffer for the remainder of their life because of the loss of someone they care deeply for. Even though I know the person who commits suicide doesn't understand how much other people do really care about them.
Do you have any advice for people going through depression?
To seek help, because there's so many ways that people can help, and even though you feel overwhelmed and that there is nobody there, there's just go and ask a teacher, go and ask somebody in the district that you see as an adult. It's go to the police department. I mean, you can call. They know exactly where to send you for help, and they deal with these things all the time.
How do you feel about suicide prevention?
Well, I think suicide prevention is really important, especially when you have so many young people resorting to suicide as an answer to their problems these days.
Do you have any advice for someone that's going through depression?
If you are suffering from depression, I think the first thing you need to do is not give up hope and find someone to reach out to. And from there, you will probably find some other sources of help.
How do you feel about suicide prevention?
Suicide prevention is very important. When someone is feeling at their lowest, and you know that they're feeling on the tendency of wanting to commit suicide, the best thing you can do for someone is listen and be there for them. Not necessarily give a lot of advice, but you need to learn to be a listener and direct them in areas in which a professional can possibly help them. Because if they're at their lowest, they generally want to speak and they have emotions they need to get out.
How do you feel about suicide prevention?
Suicide prevention is 100% preventable. I would want students to know that here at the Resource Center that we are open arms to helping students, and that their emotional pain would be understood, and that we all can be involved in the power of prevention by understanding what the warning signs are, looking out for each other, and starting conversations about it, so that we can get that student help, and that we take all situations very serious here and we provide help right away.
Do you have any advice for people going through depression?
Yes. Now, depression, there are a couple different types of depression. Sometimes there is a normal bout of depression, which means a short-term depression, And sometimes a preteen or a young teen might have one for the first time and it might be scary. And then there's other types of depression which are deeper and last longer. And so regardless of the type of depression it is, it's important to start having conversations about it, identifying and recognizing it, and then looking out for each other so that way some interventions can be made and some coping skills can be learned. And then here at Warner, we have the Resource Center. I have lots of resources on coping skills and stress reduction strategies, and I also run groups to help students with learn coping skills as well.
How do you feel about suicide prevention?
I think suicide prevention is a very important program for any school or organization to take part in, because you want to prevent as many people from feeling like that's what they want to do with themselves as you can. And oftentimes kids in middle school feel depressed, so it's a very, very important time to have information available for them to keep them from having those kinds of thoughts.
Do you have any advice for people going through depression?
I do. I think the first thing that people going through depression need to know is that they can talk to somebody. They can talk to me, they can talk to other people on campus here at Warner, they can talk to a friend, they can also talk to family. Depression is a treatable disease, and it is something that you can only get help for if you're willing to talk to someone. So my biggest piece of advice for anyone going through depression is find someone to talk to.